Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and I am so excited that you decided to join me for another day of bookmas. So today I am feeling a little inspired by my Spotify Wrapped, and my top artist of the year was Billie Eilish, and so I decided to use Billie Eilish lyrics to tier rank my fantasy romance, romantasy, all of that kind of stuff, to rank all of those that I read in 2024. Okay. And so we have a lot of books to get through. So I'm not even going to do a whole lot of yapping at the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and get into it because I'm going to yap about all of these books. I think it's like 66, something like that. But yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so let us talk about these tiers. First off, let's start from the bottom. We have You Are So Mediocre and We're So Glad It's Over Now. And that's just the bottom of the barrel, okay? The worst books in this category that I have read this year, the ones that I would not recommend, we just didn't get along. Okay, moving on to the yellow tier where it says, You clearly weren't aware that you made me miserable. And these were the ones that, they weren't like horrible, but they also didn't realize that they weren't good. Okay, like, they just weren't great. They weren't great. Our middle tier in the purplish color says, Don't hate you, but we can't save you, because I don't hate these books, but I also, if there's a fire, would I save these books? Probably not. They were just okay. Meh, you know? And our blue tier is It's a Craving, Not a Crush, because these books I crave. It's not just a crush. Like, I really enjoyed these books. They were not completely top tier, but they were still really good books in general. Yeah. And then moving on to our top tier, and it says, I don't think I could love you more, because my top tier books, I don't think I could love them more because they're my babies. They're my top tier. My ride or dies. What? Girl? No. Anyway, anyway, let us start with these books. Okay? I'm going to switch this order around just because I would like to talk about the first book before I talk about the second book. So, first off, we have A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. And, I think for me, this is going to go in the It's a Craving, Not a Crush, because while I did really enjoy this book, it's not, I don't know that it's going down as like a fave. But now I'm like, is that right though? Because I did rate this really high. It was like a 4.5. But we're just going off vibes. We're not going off rankings. We're going on how these books made me feel. So a book could be ranked high, rated high, and then I just decide to put it in a lower tier because it's not going to be, up there compared to everything that I read this year. Okay, Shadow of Night, which is the second book in this series after Discovery of Witches, it's going to go into, You clearly weren't aware that you made me miserable. And this got like a middle of the road rank rating from me, but it just wasn't as good as the first book. It was a significant drop, and not even, just like mid. Like this I had to push to get through this. So if I'm being honest, it wasn't aware that it made me miserable. And moving into Sword Heart. Okay, so Sword Heart was a DNF for me. So I think it's just going to have to go into You Were So Mediocre. It has to, because I couldn't even finish it. All right. Okay, moving into A Touch of Darkness. And this was a reread for me. And I think upon second reread, it went down a little bit. It wasn't as good as it was when I first read it a couple of years ago. So I think if we're just talking about 2024, it will be going into the don't hate you, but we can't save you. And Ray Bear, this one hurt my heart, y'all. I thought that I was going to love Ray Bear, but I think my problem with it was that it just read really young, and I knew right away that I wasn't the target audience. And because of that, I just wasn't having a good time. And because of that, I'm going to unfortunately have to put it in the mediocre territory. But yeah, I feel bad about that one. Yeah, yeah. Okay, moving into Rain and Ruin. This is the start of a series, and I really enjoyed Rain and Ruin. I thought that our main character, what was her name? Was it Naima? I don't know. I feel like Naima. I might be making that up. Whatever her name was, I really liked her as a main character. She was strong. She didn't need a man to, help her do what she needed to do. She was handling business on her own. She was very smart. She was very cunning. She was very meticulous. And I really love that in a main character. So, yes, it's a craving, not a crush. A Touch of Ruin. If you have read this series, then you know that A Touch of Ruin is the second book. And in this book, Persephone, our main character, becomes insufferable. Our good sis was going through it and she was making everybody go through it with her. It was a struggle for sure. She was very annoying in this book. So I think this one is going in. You clearly weren't aware that you made me miserable because Persephone was miserable and misery loves company. So she was making us all miserable with her. Okay. Moving into Scorpica, it is going to be going in the mediocre category because this was also a DNF for me. I think that the writing was good. I just couldn't connect with the stories and I was jumping POV so much that by the time I got my head around one character, we had already moved on to another, and it wasn't working for me. But I think that the premise of this book is very interesting, and yes, it has potential, but it just didn't work for me. The Bridge Kingdom is going to be a don't hate you, but we can't save you. I don't feel like anything was overly special about the Bridge Kingdom. I liked it. I thought it was different. I just didn't even care to continue on in the story. It was just fine, you know? The Beautiful by Renee Audier was a DNF for me as well, so it'll be going in the mediocre category. I was rocking with this for a while, but then I just found it to be, I don't even know, I just stopped caring, and it just became hard for me to want to pick it up and hard for me to want to read it. And once the book gets to that point, I know I need to set it down. Then we have, I think I'm going to go through and try to get the first book in a series first before I talk about sequels. So we have Kingdom of the Curse down here, so let me go and grab, here we are, Kingdom of the Wicked. Let's do that one next. And with Kingdom of the Wicked, it was definitely a craving and not a crush. I was really into this story. I loved the world that Carrie Maniscalco had built out. I loved the characters, the storyline, everything about Kingdom of the Wicked was working for me. It was. It was so good. And then we got into Kingdom of the Cursed. And when I tell you I got whiplash, because this was, and I know we aged up, but we didn't just slide into that new adult age group. We just barely flopped into it and I wasn't ready. I also feel like we changed plots. And I don't know why we changed plots when we hadn't solved the plot in Kingdom of the Wicked. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in Don't Hate You, but We Can't Save You, because it was a lot going on with Kingdom of the Cursed. Yeah. Might as well go and finish off this series and find Kingdom of the Wicked. I mean, the Feared. Here it is right here. Kingdom of the Feared. Hmm. Okay. Wait. I think I need to rethink this because I liked Kingdom of the Feared more than I liked Kingdom of the Cursed, but not as much as Kingdom of the Wicked. Because if I had to rank them, it was Kingdom of the Wicked, Kingdom of the Feared, then Kingdom of the Cursed. So I think I'm gonna have to move Kingdom of the Cursed down to You Clearly Wonder Where You Made Me Miserable, and then I can slot in Kingdom of the Feared at Don't Hate You But We Can't Save You. And that feels good because that is exactly my rating. Yeah. Yeah, that works. Okay. The shadows between us, it's gonna have to go into It's a Craving, Not a Crush. And this shocked me. I did not think that I was gonna like this as much as I did. I thought it was going to be mid at best. So we love a good surprise. And this was a surprise for sure. The Bone Shard Daughter was very disappointing for me. It was a DNF. And at this point, I haven't decided if it's a hard DNF or a soft DNF. I still own the book. It was just a lot and I was confused. And it could have just been the timing. That's why I haven't unhauled it or anything. I'm going to hold on to it a little bit more and see if I want to come back to it. So, A Touch of Malice, I think I would put this. I'm conflicted because I feel like I need a category between the third and the fourth. Because when I look at A Touch of Ruin, I liked A Touch of Malice more, but I don't think I liked it as much as A Touch of Darkness. So that's where I'm kind of stuck a little bit, right? I think I'm gonna go in with Don't Hate You But We Can't Save You. So I feel like this had a lot of spicy scenes that weren't necessary. So I think I reread the Atlas 6 at the end of 2023. And so I started the year off with the Atlas Paradox. And I think for this one, it is going to be. Hmm. I think she's going to go into I Don't Think I Could Love You More. If I have to think about it, then it doesn't need to be up there. So I think it's going to come down to A Craving, Not a Crush. And I really liked where the storyline went with this, how everything was developing. Yeah, I still think the Atlas 6 is my favorite out of the trilogy, but I still really enjoyed the Alice Paradox. So yeah. Serpent in the Wings of Night, immediately, I Don't Think I Could Love You More. I am so mad at myself that I took so long to read this book because everybody was screaming about it. And I'm like, yo, it can't be that good. It can't be that good. Like The Serpent on the Wings of Night, top tier. Araya and Rain, one of my favorite book couples of all time. Like believe the hype about The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Half a Soul for me is I think it's going to go in It's a Craving, Not a Crush. I think this was really super cute. I love the storyline of Dora and whatever her love interest name was. I can't remember right now. And the things that he did for her and the way he didn't try to change her and let her know that she was okay just as she was, even with her half a soul. It ate. It ate. Yeah. Let's talk about Neon Gods. Because I feel like y'all are going to judge me for this. I feel like y'all are gonna judge me, and I don't want to hear it. Okay, I don't want to hear it because it's going to. I don't think I can love you more. Okay, when I read this book, it was at the beginning of my reading journey, and I loved it. Okay, so I reread it this year just to see if it held up, and it did. Okay, so I don't want to hear it. It's going in the top tier. The Wren in the Holly Library. Let's go in Don't Hate You But We Can't Save You. I thought this was just fine. It didn't really stick out to me, and I think that's all I have to say about it. Let's talk about A Kingdom of Stars and Shadows. I I'm gonna put this in as a craving, not a crush. Because let me tell you, I don't remember his name at the moment, but that man, that love interest, that shadowy dude person, Holly Renee can write a cocky, arrogant man that is still very much attractive, very much my type, very much yes. Going into Vinco, I think Vinco is also a craving, not a crush, because I really enjoyed this story. I loved all the different types of representation that we got in this, the witchy vibes, the New Orleans, Louisiana vibes, all the things. Like, I really enjoyed Vinco. And if you're looking for something witchy and a girl and her grandma, yeah, yeah. A fate inked in blood, baby. You were not aware that you made me miserable, and that was not good. It just, let me just say that and be done. It wasn't. I didn't like it. I'm mad that I spent my money on that edition and I sold it because I didn't want it in my house anymore. Moving on. Actually, mm, no, it wasn't horrible, so I'm not gonna put it in the bottom tier. It wasn't mediocre, so I'm gonna let that ride. Okay, so Vicious Bonds by Shanora Williams. I really liked this. I thought the world was interesting. I do plan on continuing on in this series. I think it's going to go into Craving Not a Crush. Because like I said, I think it has potential to have higher ratings from me later on in the series, but we'll have to see about that. Now, the Unmaking of June Farrow. I think it's going to go in Don't Hate You, But We Can't Save You. I thought this was weird. I thought this was interesting. I, again, like a girl and her granny's type of story, so I enjoyed that. But there were some questionable things going on in that book. Okay. So the Coven is going mediocre. I was creeped out by the age gap and by the fact that 2 pages into this book, they were already thinking sexy thoughts. If it, I don't even want to say sexy, they were just thinking, thinking about each other sexually. And it gave me the ick. Immediately, no. Immediately, no. One for My Enemy is a craving, not a crush. Words. I was shocked at how much I enjoyed this one because I am not a Romeo and Juliet type of girly. I'm not a but this witchy take on it was very interesting and I had a good time. It was drama, it was messy, and I loved all that. Okay. I'm laughing because y'all gonna let me hear my Katie Roberts, okay? It's not going to the top, but Hunt on Dark Waters is going to be a craving and not a crush because look, while I was reading this, I was living my best life. I was shocked because I didn't think I was a pirate type of person. Didn't know if I was enjoying pirate books. So that's even why I picked this up because I'm like, okay, I know I like Katie. So if I'm going to like anybody's pirates, it's going to be Katie's. And so, yeah, yeah, it was different. I loved the spice in it. I loved the story. Now, am I going to actually continue on in this series? I don't know. I don't know. But I enjoyed my time with it while I was in it. So I guess that's what's important. Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent is going to be a craving and not a crush. I really enjoyed Lilith and Vale's story. I didn't like it as much as the actual like Serpent and the Wings of Night books, but I did have a good time with it. So yeah. Evocation is going to be Don't Hate You, But We Can't Save You. And here's my thing with Evocation. I think while I was reading it, I was thinking that I liked it more. But now that I have sat and thought about it, I don't like it as much as I think I did while I was reading it, if that makes any sense at all. And so, yeah, like I want to put it higher, but I just really can't in good conscience. Okay, Midnight Ruin by Katie Robert. I was reading Katie this year, okay? I didn't realize I read this many, and three is not a lot, but it's still more than what I thought. So, Midnight Ruin, I think, is going to be Don't Hate You, But We Can't Save You. This one, I don't know. I liked it, but it just isn't one that's going to stick with me. Like, I remember reading Wicked Beauty, which was the third one, and that one has stuck with me. And Neon Gods has stuck with me, but Midnight Ruin just did not. Okay. Spark of the Everflame. Here's the thing, Spark of the Everflame is going into. Ooh, part of me wants to put it down here in Don't Hate You, But We Can't Save You because it falls into the same lane with Evocation. Like, I think if I revisited my rating of Spark of the Everflame, it would go down because we had DM getting on my nerves, we had Henry getting on my nerves. Is that his name? Yeah, they was both working my nerves in that, and it just felt a little wonky, like something wasn't quite right. So I think Spark has to be in Don't Hate You, But We Can't Save You. Let us talk about The Ashes and The Star Cursed King. Now, y'all, when a series makes me feel like I can't decide which book I like more, like that's what you're supposed to be doing. That make it hard for me to decide which book in the series is better because that's exactly what Carissa did. I don't know if I like Serpent or Ashes better, and I don't care because they're both top tier books for me for 2024. Like, she was right. Okay, so Map of the Other Lands. It's going in Craving Not a Crush. I really enjoy Emily Wilde. I think it's a fun time. Do I love them? No, but I really, really enjoy them and will continue reading the series. Yeah. So, Smells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. I think that I liked this a lot more than I thought I would, but I feel like the ending was lacking for me. I feel like it just kind of fell off. Like, it built up to so much happening and then just dropped it and ended it all. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. So I'll put it in the Don't Hate You, But We Can't Save You. Now, A Touch of Chaos. Look, I was so disappointed by A Touch of Chaos. I liked it still, but I just feel like there were so many things that could have been done differently to end off this massive series that I have spent so much time reading. And I even went back and reread four, one, three of the books this year just to get to A Touch of Chaos. And I kind of feel like was it a waste of my time? No, but was it a waste of my time? Yes. So I think it's gonna go in You Weren't Aware You Made Me Miserable. Yeah, that one kind of hurts a little bit. Okay, so Until the Stars Fall, I think it's going to go in Don't Hate You, But We Can't Save You. I don't know how I feel about Fated Mates, and that's what this is. It wasn't memorable for me. Like, I didn't dislike it while I was reading it, but like I said, I don't remember anything other than it being Fated Mates, and that's it. So it's gonna go there. Apprentice to the Villain, easily going in. I don't think I could love you more. I I think I like this even more than I like the first book. This series is shaping up to be it for me, like one of my favorite series probably of all time, and that's saying a lot because I didn't know what to expect going into this, but yeah, I'm having the time of my life, and I didn't realize that I have Assistant to the Villain down here, so I'm gonna go ahead and move her up too because yeah, she deserves to be up there as well because I reread that this year to see if it held up also, and it did. So, yeah, period. A Game of Gods is also in like the mix of the A Touch of books, saga, whatever you want to call it. I think A Game of Gods, hmm, my problem with the A Game of books is that I really enjoyed Hades' Persephone, sometimes even more than Persephone's, but it just felt like we were rereading the same book and that irritated me. But I liked Hades' perspective more. So, a little confusing, but I think if I had to put A Game of Gods somewhere, and I do have to, um, I'm gonna put it in Don't Hate You, but We Can't Save You. Yeah, that feels right. Yeah. Okay. All right. I am happy to see that so far we are not bottom heavy. We're a little top heavy, and that makes me happy. Okay, Lore of the Wilds, I think for me is going to be Don't Hate You, But We Can't Save You. I think that this book had a lot of potential, and I think that this series still does. This was a debut novel, and I just feel like, that first book, you got like a couple of kinks that you got to work out. And I just think that that is what happened with Lore of the Wilds. I still think it's a really interesting story, really fun story, and I'm excited to see what happens in the second book, but there are some things that can be improved on. So, yes. The Honey Witch, I don't think I could love you more because I loved The Honey Witch, all caps. Like, I have been screaming about this book since I read it, and I read it around the time I started this channel. So, y'all have been hearing me talk about The Honey Witch and how much I just really enjoyed this. Gilded Wings, mediocre. If there was a tier below mediocre, Gilded Wings would be down there, right with the Coven. I, this book was weird. It was wrong. Please don't say romantasy in a book. Please don't do that to me. And like weird month-long sex rituals. But no, no. There was so much wrong with this, and I was so disappointed because I felt like the synopsis was actually really good, and it could have been, but it wasn't. It wasn't. The unfortunate side effects of heartbreak and magic. This is going to be a craving, not a crush. I really enjoyed this. This is another girl and her granny type of book, and yeah, I just enjoyed reading this. It was a shock to me. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did, but it was good. It's good to me. All right, going into this Ravenous Fate is also going to be a craving, not a crush. I feel like this series also has potential to be top tier, but like I said, this debut book just had a few kinks that it needs to work out. But I am very, very excited to see where this goes in the sequel. And yes, always going to be going up for black vampires. So the games gods play. I have been seeing reviews about this, and apparently it's like a little polarizing. Some people are just like really not having a good time, and then there are those of us that really had a good time. I had a great time reading this. I thought Abigail Owen's humor was great. I loved our main character, Laura, one of them. Okay. So I accidentally summoned a demon boyfriend. Um, this was, I think, my first monster romance, and I don't know. I liked it, but I can't really gauge how much I liked it. I didn't love it. I know that, but I just feel like it's a little hard for me to gauge where I sit with it, okay? But I think it's going into Don't Hate You, But We Can't Save You. Yeah, that that feels about right. Yeah. Okay. Now moving on into Phantasma. This also falls in the category of me wanting to like it more than I did, and thinking back on the rating, I would probably lower it. So it's kind of in the same boat with Evocation and Spark the Everflame. So I think it needs to go down into Don't Hate You, but We Can't Save You. I am looking forward to where the series is going. I had a good enough time. I liked Blackwell and Ophelia. And yeah, I just wasn't in love with this as much as I am with the books in the upper tiers. So that's where it's gonna go. Now, the Veil Kingdom, it's a craving, not a crutch, because again, Holly Renee is and can write the love interest that I like. Yeah. Yeah. It honestly wasn't even about the story in the Veil Kingdom for me. It was about that couple and their relationship and that will they, won't they, that back and forth that, yeah, ate it right on up. Yep. Witchbound. It was mediocre. It was a DNF for me. I don't understand how our couple fell in love when they didn't have enough interactions to even do that. Like, uh, you would just have to go back to the vlog where I read Witchbound, which I think was the vampire vlog that I did, to hear more about that. Cause baby, I don't know what was going on in that, but okay, moving on. A wolf steps in blood. She is a craving, not a crush. This novella packed a punch. It was so cute. Kalta and ooh, not me forgetting her name. I only remember one of our girlies' names, but this was good. And I'm usually not into the wolves, but this made me be into the wolves. It was still a little like, eh, but the story was so good that I could get over the wolfish parts that I thought were weird. So yeah. Oh my god, Masters of Blood. I hate it, but it has to go into Don't Hate You, but We Can't Save You. This synopsis alone was giving me 5-star feelings. It had all of the things that I love about fantasy romance and romancy, whatever you want to call it, honey. I I thought, and it has so much potential. And even reading it, I was like, ooh, okay, this is good, but it just needed some more work. It needed some more editing. It needed just to be workshopped a little more before it was published. And I think that it could have had really great potential to be one of the biggest new things. But yeah, it just needed some more work. But it has potential. It does. Um Storm and Shield, I did not like as much as I liked Rain and Ruin, and that kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. Storm and Shield goes into Don't Hate You, but We Can't Save You. It was one of those stories where it talks about how big he was and how small she was, and I don't need that. I don't need that. Okay. Then we have the second book after Kingdom of Stars and Shadows, and that is A Kingdom of Blood and Betrayal. And I don't know. I think it's gonna have to go into Craven too, because when I read these, like I binged them. Like I was in it. I was enjoying the story and what was happening and the relationship. I was there. So I think it has to be a Craven. Yeah, I think it does. Now we saving all the bangers at the end. Spoiler alert. Okay. Bring Me Your Midnight is going up into the. Can we get it up there? No? Okay, let me set you right here and then we're going to slide you on up there, because you are definitely going in. I don't think I could love you more, because this was such a good YA fantasy, a witchy story, a story about finding yourself and who you want to be versus who you're expected to be. And just realizing that everything is not what it seems and not as black and white as people try to make it be. And this relationship, I think it was Tana and Wolf, it was so good. And I didn't even expect it to be as good as it was, but like it was so good. Okay. And then Throne of the Fallen immediately also going to the top as well. Throne of the Fallen has one of my favorite couples. We're talking about Envy. Is it Envy and Ophelia too? Girl, what's the people name? How I'm talking about it's my one of my favorite book couples and I can't remember their names. Hold on. That's not sitting right with me. Girl, Camilla. Camilla and Envy are one of my favorite book couples. Their banter and their chemistry just gave me everything that I needed to give. I love how Camilla was strong enough on her own and didn't need Envy to come and save her like she was saving him. I'm like, yes, that's what we need. Okay. Throne of the Fallen, amazing. Heartless Hunter, yeah, it's going up here. Why it won't do what I wanted to do? That's frustrating. Okay. I don't think I could love Heartless Hunter more. I was so anxious reading this book because I wanted both Gideon and Rune to have what they wanted and to be successful, but that's impossible because one person has to lose in the situation because they are going up against each other. But I didn't care. I wanted them both to win and I wanted them to be with each other. I feel like they both deserved each other or someone like the other person. And I'm ready to see what Rebel Witch is going to do because that ending, that ending. Yeah. Oh, y'all already know where Faybound is going. It's not even a question. Faybound is heading straight. Where it go? I lost it. Here it is. Faybound is going straight to the top because I really don't think I can love Faybound anymore. I just don't. I'm just waiting to reread it because when that second book comes out, I am set. I don't care what is going on, where I am. When that second book is out, that's the first thing I'm picking up. Okay. How to Fake It with the Fae. Don't hate you, but we can't save you. This was just, it was mid. It was fun while I was in it, but I don't know that it was like memorable. And yeah, it was a fun, witchy, fae type story, I think. Now, y'all, Immortal Dark. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I've read so many bangers this year. Immortal Dark was amazing, and I hate that it has been a little misunderstood. But the girlies and the people that get it, the people that get it. And I'm sorry if you don't. You're really missing out. This book was just so many things. I cannot believe that this is a debut book because Ty just was writing all caps. Do you hear me? This exceeded my expectations, and my expectations were already top tier for this. This book is just everything. Okay? Everything. The Atlas Complex. Okay. Okay. This also falls into the category of my initial rating would be lowered if I went back and thought about it now. I think I was just so wrapped up in being in this story that I loved so much. And Olivia Blake is one of my favorite authors at this point. And like, yeah. But the way she ended this series, I didn't like. I I didn't like. It's gonna have to go into Don't Hate You, but We Can't Save You. And that feels wrong for me for an Olivia Blake book, but this particular book, yeah. Dragon Fruit for me is going to also go into Don't Hate You, but We Can't Save You. I think this is a great book for the audience that it's for. It's a young adult book. It is a little bit on the younger side. So if you know anybody in that age range that wants to read some fantasy, I think it is a really great fantasy for that age group. And yeah, I recognize that I am not the target audience, and that's okay. I still recommend this book. I think it is really cool Pacific Islander representation. We don't get a whole lot of that. So, like I said, I will always recommend this book, but for my personal taste and with me not knowing, I mean, and with me knowing that I'm not the target audience, it's just going to be there. Yeah. Um, can't spell treason without T is unfortunately gonna go in. You weren't aware that you made me miserable. Like the way that this was a 5-star prediction, and she wasn't. No, she wasn't. And I loved Legends and Lattes, Bookshops and Bone Dust. Like I think probably even the Honey Witch. Like I think I am a cozy fantasy type person, but this one just really didn't hit for me. I found that the story built up to a certain point and then just dropped it off. Like why are you making 70% of the story about this one thing and then decide to wrap up that one thing in 2 pages? Don't play with me. Don't piss me off. The North Wind was mediocre. This was a DNF for me as well. I hated this, and this was like a 5-star prediction for me as well. And I was so mad. I was so irritated. I actively, strongly disliked this book. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. But I'm so happy that we are ending off on Glow of the Everflame because she's going to the top. Okay? She's going to the top. There are no questions. I don't know what happened between Spark of the Everflame and Glow of the Everflame, but baby, Glow gave what it needed to give. And I am so happy because Glow was what I was wanting from Spark. And yeah, Glow is that girl. She is giving everything. I think that I am happy with how this looks. We don't have that many books in these bottom 2 rows, which makes me feel like I am learning my taste and that I'm figuring out what's going to work for me and what isn't. I'm still trying new things, and sometimes those new things work out and sometimes they don't. But for the most part, she knows what she likes, okay? And yeah, now I think what I want to work on is making sure that this middle category isn't the biggest category. I think that will be my goal for when I do this again next year. I don't want the mid category to have the most books in it. I need it to either be the second or the top. That would make me happy. But you never know. We'll just have to wait till next year to find out. But anyway, I would just like to say thank you for listening to me yap about books and go through this tier ranking and hearing my opinions on every fantasy romance, and romantasy book that I read in 2024. I hope this gave you some recommendations of maybe some things you would like to pick up, or you just had a decent enough time listening to me say irrelevant things about these books. So, yeah, thank you so much for staying until the end of this video and joining me for another day of Bookmas. I hope that you have the best day and the best holiday season that you possibly can. Be sure to check out all of my socials. Y'all hear my voice? I didn't talk entirely too long and too much. But be sure to check out my socials in the description box, and I will catch you in the next one because clearly I need some water. Alrighty, y'all. Bye.